Hey everyone, welcome back to another Dev Diary. Today we'll be looking at a number of things, big changes, starting out with the MIFO bills. So if you understand anything about history, the MIFO bills were effectively just a giant pyramid scheme, basically promising corporations getting together and helping Germany to rearm and remilitarize with the intention of we'll repay all this at some point, and they just kept pushing that date back further and further. So you can see here in the start of 1936, the MIFO bills have changed just a little bit, being of which that as you gain more non-core territory through expansion of the Reich, you're going to be gaining more consumer goods factories factor up to 100%. So again, the conquest through expansion mechanic of the industry tree will have dramatic influences on your economy, and you'll need to fix that. And you can see as an example here, if you're not able to manage your MIFO bills very effectively, you can see what's happening here. Your consumer goods are going out of hand, and you're losing factory output and dockyard output. And monthly increase is going to get higher and higher, so it's going to continue to spiral out of control unless you get that under control. So there are a number of things that you can kind of do to artificially change that, or at least temporarily make that less bad. And one of which is pricing controls. So you can artificially, for a small amount of time, change the consumer goods factor of your MIFO bills. But that's going to go away after a little while, and then you're still going to be stuck with an economy that is reliant on taking territory and plundering it effectively. So you can see we do have some other new pricing controls here. Don't know if I'm entirely down with this new mechanic. I don't know. It adds more complexity to the game, which I'm not necessarily against. It's more button clicks, so I don't know how I feel about that. So one of the things you can do to fix your economy, at least temporarily, if you go the economy of conquest, is seize gold reserves. Yes, if the Soviet Union can do it, then why not the Reich? So if you take territory, you'll have an option to seize the gold in that territory, and that will temporarily reduce some of the negative impacts of the economy of conquest. So you can see a couple options here. So for territory that you've taken, you can seize the gold reserves. Now there will be some downsides to this. You will increase resistance by 10%, and compliance will fall by 5%. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, that's not really all that much, frankly. Now, Paradox did throw you a lifeline, so if you were worried that if you went the economy of conquest that your economy would be completely screwed the entire game, so not to worry, if you get to the bottom of the economy of conquest, there is actually a mechanic where you can fix your economy. You can see autarky achieved here. So at the very bottom, you can see all the resources that you would need to achieve a self-reliant economy. So that is a lot of steel, that's a lot of aluminum, oil, tungsten, chromium. But if you can achieve all of this, then you will actually get rid of the MIFO bill debuff. But we're talking like this has got to be late game. This has got to be after you've taken the West, you dealt with Britain, probably brought the Soviet Union to its knees, and then and only then can you fix your economy, fully. Now, kind of the big thing here also, Germany's going to have a new mechanic that is just for Germany, and we are talking about the inner circle. So just like in real history, you had the actual government, and then you had the Nazi party, and there was infighting between the two and overlap, of course, and you have all these goons in the inner circle trying to ascend to the inner circle of Mr. H here. So if the inner circle here, you've got the advisors from Todt, Speer, Goering, Himmler, Goebbels, Hess, so on and so forth. So if you pick one of these advisors, they will join the inner circle, and then every 14 days, they will work on their next focus all the way down to the very bottom. And that will increase their perks, but also their debuffs as well. And each of these advisors, except for these two on the right, will take political power to maintain daily. The ones on the right will actually gain you political power. So you can see if we're going to look at, say, Goering here, moving to the inner circle, you can see that, I don't know why you'd want him in your inner circle, but if you did, it would cost you political power, but you'd gain resource gain efficiency of 5%, and that's just the start. So the idea is they get stronger as they complete their focuses. So if you look here, we have the Goering, as it continues to move down the focus tree, is gaining more perks as well. So it's costing you more political power to maintain him in the inner circle, but you can see we're gaining production efficiency, resource efficiency, we're gaining some tech bonuses, and excavation, that sort of thing, as the, it's kind of helping your industry a little. So as your advisors go through and complete their focus tree and gain those perks and some debuffs, once they get to the bottom, it'll pause. Now you do need to have completed 3 separate advisors going through their entire focus tree. Once you get there, you'll have an option to either go one of 2 paths, one of which is a strong successor. So this would be an individual that could replace Mr. H as the Fuhrer. And you can see that Martin Bormann here has a new title and some really good buffs here. So certainly better buffs than Mr. H has, and so it could be worth your time to go through this tree and work your way down to get to a strong successor. So, it might be worth your time to play around with that. Now, changes to kind of the West. So the Monroe Doctrines. U.S. foreign policy that said, hey, we're going to oversee effectively the Western Hemisphere here, so the Americas. And we don't want any European interference mucking about in the Americas. And we will reinforce that militarily. Now, Germany wants to muck about everywhere, right? So changes to this are going to be a little bit different and kind of a little more convoluted. So you can see that one of the new focuses crossing the Atlantic here, it's just an update of the original focus. We gain a bunch of marine technology and some dockyards and so on and so forth as we're working down maybe Plan Z. And as you can see here, we do have a new mini game that we can play that kind of reminds me of the Spanish Civil War. So you can spend political power to gain influence over nation states, and in this case, South America. Nation states that might be a little more friendly to you, like Argentina, or Chile, Uruguay, Brazil, that sort of thing. And basically say, hey, we will pick our own friends. You, America, don't need to watch over us. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how useful that will be. Frankly, you can simply just invade America, like particularly if you take Britain and you puppet the, Canada, or just take it fully. You can use Canada as a way to enter, or, you could ally with Venezuela, who starts out fascist, and you could then use that as a staging ground to attack South America and Central America and so forth. Maybe they're making changes to that, so that's not a possibility anymore. I don't really know, but interesting. I mean, it might be fun to play around with once or twice. So this will give changes to the Monroe Doctrine for America. This will kind of move things around a little bit. So they will have an option, kind of 3 options. They can maintain the Monroe Doctrine as it is, kind of a partial Monroe Doctrine. So nations, say Argentina, Brazil, so on and so forth, say they don't want to be part of the Monroe Doctrine. They're going to back out and they say, hey, America's like, well, all right. We will continue the Monroe Doctrine for all the nation states that agree with this, and the rest of you can just do your own thing. Don't care anymore. Or they're going to completely dismantle the Monroe Doctrine, and that would be an opportunity for Germany or Italy or whatever to muck about in those nations a little bit more. So, but of course, if they do enforce the Monroe Doctrine and you're mucking about in the affairs of the West, then get ready for war with America. So big changes to Rex commissariats here. Big changes. So we'll have a new focus on our focus tree, uplift the Rosenberg office. If you know anything about Alfred Rosenberg, not a great fella, not a great guy. I believe he was executed at Nuremberg, but regardless, his office was in charge of establishing the Rex commissariats in the conquered territories. So that's the first focus, going down that, and then you will be able to open up Rex commissariats in the conquered territories. Now you can see here we do have a number of Rex commissariats, and you kind of ask yourself, well, what's the point of doing a Rex commissariat? Some people like them, some people don't like them. Well, with the economy of conquest, you're going to be taking a massive debuff to your economy for all non-core territory that you currently occupy. So it would behoove you to to open up Reichskommissariats, so effectively administrative controlled mini nations of your nation, governed by most likely Germans or whatever in this case, to oversee the affairs. So that's going to transfer that territory away from your direct occupation, and that's going to help your economy just a little bit. So when you establish a Reichskommissariat here, you'll have an option. So you can pick a German official, or you can pick a local collaborator. And so now a German official is going to be better at keeping resistance down and and resources coming to the Reich and so forth. The collaborator, as you can see, that will have some other benefits as well for compliance and that sort of thing. So it's kind of up to you. So you get to pick the leader now of the Reichskommissariats, which is kind of interesting. What is a little convoluted, and I'm not sure how this is going to work, is effectively how non-core unoccupied territory works now. So effectively, when you take territory in conquest, whoever took that territory first has ownership over it, right? So regardless whether it's cored or whatever. So now, for instance, like if you were to go invade the Soviet Union, okay, and you're pushing past Moscow and you get to Stalingrad and so on and forth here, and you want to establish the maybe like Reichskommissariat Ukraine or Ausland, something like that. As the game currently works, if you establish those Reichskommissariats, it's going to recalculate the amount of victory points and territory that the Soviet Union needs in order to be capitulated. So if you were to do that, you're going to have to walk well past the Ural Mountains to cap the Soviet Union. So they'll be making some changes to this, and now they have a new contested owner mechanic. You can see up here, so you can see the two flags. So you'll have contested owners, so the original owner, occupier of the territory. So, that's going to effectively change how resistance and compliance works a fair amount. I'm not entirely sure exactly how that is all going to play out, frankly, but we will get more information as we move closer to release, I believe. But you can see we do have a number of Reichskommissariat decisions for other areas of the world that historically, of course, they did not establish. So we have Africa, we have Asia, America, and so forth. So we will have a ton more Reichskommissariats that we can establish in conquered territories. As you can see here, kind of closing out, we have a world conquest by Germany here, and it's a very gray world. You can see we have a lot of Reichskommissariats all over the world, and then some kind of core German-held territory here in the center. A little bit of Italy, a little bit of France. All right, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's covering of the newest dev diary. If you have, consider subbing to the channel. That way you'll be notified when I drop new dev diary updates, as well as new Hearts of Iron content in the near future. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I've been Greg the Gamer, and I will talk with you soon.